So
Yeah. Good
basically, morning, Nick. Our plan today is to start from scratch with myself on my warlock, and you, I believe, you're going huntering, which
I am.
will provide
Excited.
entertainment.
Excited. Yep.
Got to admit,
It's been
the hardest part of
a
that
while.
will definitely be getting used to all the different jumps.
Absolutely.
For anyone that's new to Destiny or new to D2, the jumping system is very straightforward, to be fair. There is a bit of difficulty if you're going from class to class, as they have slightly different styles on their jumps. But more or less, once you've done it a couple of times, you learn the distances and you get the hang of it. In saying that, don't laugh too hard when I fall down the hole. Well, I will miss a ledge or two.
The problems of warlock jumping.
Yes, there's many a meme on warlock jumping, especially when you've been running around with Super Titan for so long.
Exactly.
Those boots we've got are great, but they make starting the new very difficult.
Yeah, 100%. But no, I'm looking forward to getting back to the hunter. It's been a month, maybe 6 weeks since I've been on a hunt. I'm not a great hunter player. A lot of people choose it for the PvP options, and I'm not the world's greatest PvP player by any means. But I do like the hunter. I think it's a really viable class in PvE, which is where I love to be.
Not a great PvP.
And it's
you still got a higher KD than
great.
most.
Well, but it's really fun. It's really fun having that sort of mobility and having to think about where you are and a lot more. You think about cover all the time.
Well, during this stream, what we plan to do is we'll be talking generally about the differences from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. Any person shooter will know how the movement works in this game. It's very similar to most games out there in respect of its movement and its control. It's above the rest is generally its artistic flair. The scenery, the characters, they're all really well designed and really well built. So that's the biggest difference between other first-person shooters in Destiny. We will be covering any changes we think are significant if you're just starting the game. Some that caught us out, for example, changes they made but didn't tell us in full. We didn't find out until, for example, we go to pop a super and oh wow, that's a little different than it used to be.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll cover them when we get to them.
And stuff we didn't even get a chance to look at in the beta. I hate to say, it was we didn't have time. There wasn't a lot of time to play the beta. I think. I don't know. I'm not a great beta tests, but it was sort of over before it began. It's very quick.
Yeah. But no,
I think it was more of a bug report thing, I think, than anything else.
Yeah. Was that? But no.
We weren't looking for a huge amount of input.
No, unfortunately not. No. With Destiny, I spent a bit more time in Destiny than you, Nick. But I mean,
yeah,
you still did. In 6 months, you did more in Destiny than what some people did in their whole time there. So you played catch up very well.
Obsessive? No, not me. No.
I just think near the end you put in more hours than me. I was there for the original beta.
I'm going to say the first thing that will strike a lot of players. For one of the first things that struck me is, I know it's a bit of a side issue for a lot of people, but what absolutely makes this game is the quality of the voice acting. The quality of the acting is just a step up. It just involves you. It's more dramatic. It's just, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
I mean, these were good actors anyway, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, they brought in quite a few really good actors to do the voiceovers, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, really stepped up their game. The lady who plays Ikora, Nathan Fillion is still doing his fabulous work. But they've stepped it up. They've really brought their A game to it, and it shows.
I mean, we've touched on it before, in our little conversations we've had in the past about there is that slight annoyance of our ever silent guardian, but
yep,
they
that's an
do
issue. There's no question.
They do make up for it with the ghost. I mean, and some of the other characters' interactions over your radio and things, that does make up for it slightly.
It does.
It is quite fun.
It does. It does. But like I say, I don't understand. I just don't get it yet. No, I haven't seen a good explanation for why my Guardian is doing basically a mute performance.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So, that's just it.
Yeah, exactly. Why has he become a fabulous mime artist? I don't know. But
I mean, as you'll see from the gameplay as we go through, very straightforward heads-up display, very comfortable to play on.
Hey, you two, give me a sec.
And I'll let our favourite guardian do his part there first of all.
Whoever's behind this. Be a short date.
The great thing about this game is it's so easy to pick up and play. Everything that you need to know comes to you. It's not a case of you have to know everything about first-person shooters to play it. You really can have a shot, either love first-person shooters or you really want to learn this game because it just has it. It's got that great feel about it.
yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people commenting on D1 picked up on, which is that D1 was never huge on content, and people always were complaining that perhaps there was only maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of story content.
Yeah.
But it didn't stop people playing it. People were still playing it because of the joy of playing it.
Yeah, the style of the game was brilliant. It did lack a lot in the storytelling side of things. Desktop and really just
must be their command ship.
pulls you into the story. The story is fantastic. The way it's told works really well. I mean, everyone has their own opinion on it, which is great. Some people will disagree and say, oh, it's lacking this or it's lacking that. That's fine. At the same time, it needs to be said, it needs to be remembered that technically it's still in its teething stage. I mean, the game's not been out long enough to say, oh, it's never going to get any better, because it's only going to get better. I mean, what are we on? October now. So DLC is coming out this month for Osiris. So
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay.
And again, it's going to bring some
Red Legion. Ikora, what do you got?
slightly
They're elite, ruthless.
And rumor
older
is they have never
um,
known defeat.
favourites back to the game from D1.
Today they fixed the Guardians.
You know, character-wise, I won't give any
But Zavala,
spoilers.
they're attacking the Traveler.
Play modes.
Traveler waits.
Everyone's got their fingers crossed that one of them
At any
is
cost.
custom matches in Crucible, which would be fantastic. But majority of it's just going to be there's more content coming already, and
That's quite phenomenal, really.
that's a great thing. You know, they've announced that they'll include a new social space, a new patrol area. That alone, you know, yes, that is end game, but anyone that's playing that expansion is already at the end game, so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed what they've played through. They're still here for the expansion. Yeah, give them more in-game material. It's definitely what I was wanting to hear and was happy with.
Definitely. But I think that I think the most encouraging, one of the most encouraging things to me is that the content level is already good and already there's so much to do. I can't, you know, I see people saying, oh, I've done everything. I think there's a lot of overplayed players out there. That's all I can put that down to.
Yeah,
Who have
that
just
is what
played
it
too much
is.
because there's, yeah,
It's got, I mean,
there's so much to do. There's
myself.
and they've listened. You know, they really have. They've listened, and that's lovely when you get a game developer that's clearly taken things on board.
Myself, you know, running my new warlock, as I've called this. This is my second warlock because I deleted my last max level one in order to be able to play through whilst. So technically, this is my fourth playthrough of the game, and I'm not burned out yet. I'm still enjoying. I'm still finding new things because there is a lot within the Destiny 1 lore for Entity 2. There's a lot of the gameplay that they mention. You know, they talk about some of the story from Destiny 1, which I think is a great thing for a sequel to do. It doesn't ignore the first game. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't rely on it either. It's a completely standalone story if you want it to be. You can play this game having never played Destiny 1. It'll still
Absolutely.
explain what is happening, how you're able to do what you're able to do,
The last of the shuttles is away.
and also explains
And that's
why
quite a trick
everything's
to pull off.
happening. Yeah.
That's quite a trick to pull off when you think about it. You know,
We're on it, Commander.
you can come into this game, I believe, completely raw. I mean, it's impossible for me to do that because I did love and play Destiny 1 a lot, but I can see how it would work perfectly for people
The speaker is
who'd never played before.
You will take no more from us, and you will find no mercy in me.
But like I said, coming from an MMO background, as I do, you know, the story's brilliant.
Yeah, it holds up a lot more.
Yeah, there's real depth of thought.
You did
gone into the
comment
creative
on
process.
when we were in Destiny 1 that it was good, you loved the gameplay, but you were wanting a little more story. And so did a lot of people. In Destiny 2
Well, they
was the answer, you know,
they can't.
was their answer to that. and
Yeah,
it's worked.
I think you're right. Because what they were great at in Destiny 1, right from the get-go, was great characters. They immediately and the problem is with Destiny. If I had a criticism of Destiny 1 in terms of the story, it was the fact that you just wanted to know more about them. They created these great characters, and I'm thinking about the Awoken Queen, Marisol. I'm talking, fantastic characters with great dialogue.
You need a ride.
And it kind of just left you there going, well, I want to know more about them. I want to interact with them. I want to know why they are as cool as they are. You know.
Yeah, you wanted the backstory, and I mean,
Zavala,
personally,
Guardian you never shut up about?
just because she showed up on my screen right now, I wanted more holiday.
Hold on
And
out
thankfully in this game,
Yeah.
I've got a lot more holiday.
Fabulous character, and again, you know, really, they've kept the same people, the same voices, so it's all familiar. We know they're there; they're old friends. But you know, you're straight into the story, and you feel for them straight away.
Yeah, I'm coming into this game
Fantastic.
having never played Destiny at all. This scene right now,
All right, Guardian.
where
Time to
Amanda's
kick 'em
come
where it
in
hurts.
in her ship, transmatted you up, took you to the command ship of the Cabal to drop you off. You automatically, yes, your character's in that ship, so you're thinking, please don't crash, please don't crash. But at the same time, even once you're off it, you're thinking to yourself,
Let us
hope
know
she
when
gets
the shields
away.
are down and we'll hit that ship with everything we got.
because
Yeah.
the character just so full of life straight away that you think, yeah, I want more of that.
Yeah. 100%.
There's
100%.
more interaction to have there, and you know, that, personally,
That hologram
that's a
helped.
great thing
Let
for
me
a
take
game to
look.
do.
Yeah. They seem to, Bungie has seemed to have got the recipe right. You know, they've kept
Generator should be at the bottom of the ship.
they've kept the good bits. This is the whole point. They knew what was brilliant about their game and why, and what it was about the game that kept people coming back. And
Yeah.
they've kept the beautiful. It's a joy to move around in this game. The movement is wonderful, and this is again I've only had less than a year of first-person shooters, and yet to me it's so natural and
Well,
feels great to move around in the space.
with Bungie, obviously, they cut their teeth and made their pedigree with Halo,
King, what's your status?
and
Yeah.
they haven't
Old flaming pit. Kept burning out.
just sat on that.
Makora.
They've not,
Not since you went
No.
to the speaker.
you know,
On me.
brought Halo into Destiny. There's some nice little nods with the some of the play style and things like that, but it's literally they've took it to another level. Rather than just chose to escalate.
Which must
that.
have been tempting. It must have been so tempting, you know? It must have been so tempting from a creative point of view and hell, from a financial point of view to go, look, you know, we've got this Halo thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We know it sells, we know people like it.
Well,
But they didn't. They were brave.
with them, they
That's-
openly admitted
Right.
part of their programming, part of the game code that they used was from Halo. They openly admitted that, and that's where some of the complaints came in. Or there was some bugs that come from the old Halo universe into the Destiny universe, and there was slight lacking of the story, some personality to the characters. Great characters, like we've already said, but lacking that little bit of personality because they sat on their morals. And with D2, they
Understandable.
literally decided to make sure that they listened to the community and they made those changes that we're going to make. I mean, we have people within our clan.
And they have paid lip service. Like so many, I see it time and again. Oh, we desperately want to hear from you. We want to hear from our community. We want to, we want to be driven by what they want, and the reality is not there. The reality it's just not there. It's and then, you put players on the back foot because you think, well, if you don't put into action things that I'm suggesting or that the community is suggesting, then why ask us in the first place?
Yeah.
And that's very, very demotivating.
We have players even within our clan itself, that weren't driven by Destiny 1 story because of the lack of story. Destiny 2 thinking, right, I'm coming over to Destiny 2 to play with friends, to play PvP, to do some endgame content. It's just in my way. I'll get past that,
Yeah.
and then I can enjoy the game that I want to enjoy. Which is understandable because of how Destiny 1 felt to a lot of people.
Yes,
But
just like that.
even they have played through now numerous times. So
Yeah.
again, that's a testament to
Heat levels rising.
the game itself. To be able to look to build another character so you can try the raid or PvP with a different perspective. That's fine and understandable. But to
Zavala, we did it.
then
The shields are
enjoy
down.
it whilst you're doing it,
Zavala,
that's
Amanda,
an achievement.
we're headed
It really
topside.
is.
It is. It is. It is. I am in awe of it slightly, but then again, I'm a fan, so I would be.
But back to her. You and I we digress quite a lot when we talk about games.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
unfortunately.
Well, that's- yeah,
Um,
warning. We will digress. Okay, so
How do we come back?
I
Especially
make no apology for it.
especially when we decide the topic's going to be on the lore, we'll be gone for hours. And then we'll remember
Looking forward
that,
to that.
we're actually supposed to be streaming and we're not just sitting having a pint. The main differences that I feel between two is Destiny 2 plays that much better. I know that's not hard to think about when you see Destiny 2 as a sequel, but it plays so much better. The characters have got so much more fluid to the movements. You know, they feel more realistic.
They do.
The
They do.
environment
They do. It's a
feels
smooth.
so much more alive.
The word I heard a lot of people use almost straight away was, "It's smoother. It's smoother. It's still all the good bits are still there. All the familiar bits are still there, and in a good way, you know." I do love that about this. They have smoothened it out and they've made something that was already pretty damn good
Yeah,
better. And
the combat was.
that's not easy.
I mean, if the combat in Destiny 1 wasn't enjoyable, we wouldn't have kept going back. We wouldn't have done all the raids we did.
We wouldn't.
All the gameplay
No.
that we did as a clan, as a community. So yeah, to smooth that out, to make that even better, that's just
Got to take your hat off to that.
yeah. It's a good thing to do, and it's a great thing to experience and to be part of.
Yeah, and it shows a commitment to quality. Because, you know, had it been the same, had the standards of the movement, the combat, the guns particularly, had they been as good as D1, I don't think anyone would complain. I don't think anyone would have complained at all. I mean, this is stuff that you're getting over and above, and I think that's just really admirable stuff. You know, really is. Because this, you know, this costs time and money, and time and money that they put into it because they wanted to, not because they had to.
I like how they've sequenced. Sorry, that cutscene just now. It brings in some of the changes they have made. But you touched on the changes to the guns. That is a big step. They were comfortable to use in Destiny 1, but now they feel more personal.
They do. They do. I remember somebody once wrote up in a forum something that I thought summed up Destiny 1 perfectly. Somebody just said, there was a guy came on asking why should I get involved. I'm new. I've come in late. I'm right at the end of the party, guys. Should I even bother with Destiny 1? Should I just wait? And somebody just replied, and it was a quick one-liner, and they said, "You come for the pretty pictures, but you'll stay for the guns." The guns were good enough to keep you there.
Yeah.
But they've taken that on.
There was the biggest worry was them taking away the RNG for the gun rolls. And Destiny 1 had its god rolls of guns, so for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's when a gun gets an exceptionally good perk on it. So most of the guns will come in Destiny 1, most of the guns had similar perks. So if you had two of the same weapon, they would fire more or less way and do more or less the same damage. But in Destiny 1, there was that chance of rolling a god roll where the gun has different perks superior to that of the other models of the same gun, which would mean especially you could go toe to toe with someone. You could both fire at the same time with the same gun, but he who had the god roll gun, because of its perks, would win.
I think that's a really, really clear explanation of that.
In Destiny 2, they've taken all that away. You can get 7 of the same gun. All 7 will have the same perks, the same stats. Nothing will be different. And it becomes very much on the PvP side of gunplay skill. He who shoots first has a very strong chance of being he who still stands at the end. Not always the case, but very close to that. And there was a lot
I'd agree.
There was a lot of controversy to that because a lot of people were worried, it's going to change the game too much. It's simplifying it. It's making it does to an extent, but what it does now is it means that apart from my Demolti tool, because that is just the gun that everybody seems
controversial
seems to use in PvP anyway. Apart from that weapon, lots of people are rocking many different styles of guns, from hand cannons to scout rifles to favourites, auto rifles, and different ones as well, because of losing that god roll, which I do think has been a great move for the game.
I absolutely agree. I don't think it probably needs underlining, but I'm going to underline it anyway. The point that you make about the god roll guns. I played Destiny, long and hard for, a good sort of 8-9 months, and god roll guns. I remember a hand cannon particularly. I got a god roll palindrome, and in PvE and PvP, for pretty average player like myself, it made a huge difference. It was noticeable straight away, right off the bat. You could tell that this was twice as good a gun, and that was great. It was great feeling. I'm not going to deny that. And do I miss that possibility in D2? I'm not going to lie. That's certainly something that you do think about. But straight away, what you have is you haven't got everyone, walking around with, which became, it became pretty old pretty fast. There's no question about that, After you got over the initial excitement of, I've got this great gun, you kind of got to the point of thinking, well, what's the point in using any other gun now? And there are hundreds of great guns in this game. And we're not using them. Why? Well, because this one is better.
What we did in Destiny 1 was wind up doing gun runs. We'd literally go
Yeah.
with clan members and help them farm to get particular guns, and so everyone, like you said, had the same setup. And that has kind of came into Destiny 2, where the habit's still there of, before you start a strike or a raid, right, what's everybody rolling? It doesn't quite necessary in Destiny 2, but it's force of habit, and the difference
and I
is,
think just touching on the Mida thing, that is a force of habit thing. And I know that's perhaps a controversial thing to even say, but people said, oh, everybody's using Mida. Everybody's using Mida because Mida was familiar. That's it.
yeah, it's
That's for me.
comfortable.
That's
It's got a big familiarity, and that's the same for any gun that's came over from Destiny 1. Whether it's been reskinned, renamed, anything like that. Once people realise it's similar to the Destiny 1 version, they'll use it for a while just to get comfortable, to settle in, and that's perfectly fine. But again, they don't have to stick with it then afterwards, because there is so many to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can only talk from my own experience, but PvP particularly, where these things where small differences matter more. We all know that about PvP. That's kind of an obvious thing to say, but the small differences get amplified because the game is faster. I started off shamelessly with Mida, but then again, as a PvP player in D1, my excuse for that is it's one of the very few weapons that I could be successful with in D1, so I took it into D2. Why wouldn't I? But already, I'm only a month into the game, and already I'm finding auto rifles that actually may be doing a better job. Certainly on certain maps. I mean, certain maps I'm going back to my Mida because I'm not ever so comfortable with the map. But certain maps that I'm getting to know well, I'm thinking, actually, you know what? An auto rifle's going to work better here. And I can't speak for
building up
everybody,
that
but,
familiarity with the map. In PvP, for example, it raises your confidence with said weapon.
Yeah.
In regards to PvE,
good point.
It's generally playing with fire teams is what makes your difference. As soon as you team up in a fire team, like for example at the start of the game, everyone's solo until you get the option to team up. Once you're far enough in, that makes the world of difference.
Yeah.
That's our cue. Time to go, people.
Because as soon as you team up with someone, you realise you've got enough firepower to take down the enemy in front of you. Whether you're rocking a scout rifle, an auto rifle, a sidearm, whatever you're choosing, that fire team to back you up and to provide any damage that you're lacking, so it allows you to quickly get used to other styles of play, other styles of combat, so then you build up and fill in that gap that you were lacking. And that's what I love.
Absolutely.
It just allows you to
beautiful.
adapt on the fly.
And I think they're opening up, and I think they've already had they've already started this with certain weapons in the game, but they're opening up a whole new thing that we've never seen in Destiny before, which is building a team where all your weapons complement one another. We're just starting, and maybe it'll continue, maybe it won't. I hope it does. Starting to see it with things like the Rat King, obviously, with the which is a sidearm available when you complete the Nightfall strike with and leave 5 minutes on the clock. After obviously you have to pick the quest up first. But there's a weapon that just simply gets more powerful the more people are using it. You know, the more people who have it, the more powerful it becomes. You have to be standing close together. We've seen Cold Heart, the weapon that you get with the pre-order, being a very even knocking shields down, perhaps not doing a huge amount of damage to the boss, perhaps not. There's an argument about that. But if somebody's there knocking down a shield, the other person's there to knock down the person behind, the ult behind the shield.
Yeah.
I love that.
I get what you're saying.
That. That's cooperative gameplay, and you know, all power to that. You know, more of that, please.
We have spent our lives, you and I.
Yeah, because Destiny 1, everyone sort of rocked the same weapon and just attacked with the same weapon. So it was like auto rifles gunning down a shield to break through the shield to then hurt the health behind it. Whereas in this one, like you're saying, we've got weapons like Cold Heart, but we've also got other energy weapons that do more damage to shields, and we're seeing much more of that cooperative builds where someone does concentrate on the shield and the other person's able to take down adds that don't have shields until the shield's down, and then everyone switches back to that primary damage. And that is wonderful to see when it flows very well.
Yeah. 100%.
At the same time, though, I do have to admit, 6 people rocking Cold Heart on a boss, that boss is going to hurt regardless. That's it's
yeah, that's true actually.
A weapon that does more damage the longer it hits an enemy. That's a weapon.
Yeah, that is indeed. It is. It's a beast.
Extremely powerful. Much like Sweet Business,
Coming up on the European dead zone.
but
Gonna be a
Fascinating
home
weapon.
for a while.
but
Much underused. I think we're only just beginning to know how to understand how to use it to its best.
That thing? They call it the shard of the trap.
using
I call it
those weapons in
not a place
PvP,
you
for
wanna go
example,
poking around.
generally don't carry great weight because yes, they do great damage, but it's the time it takes them to do that damage. It's the issue.
Yeah, you're not going to get things standing still for long enough. You're not going to get. They won't stand there long enough to get to for you to build up. But having said that, I still think there are ways that people will find. There are techniques people will practice when they get more familiar with particularly Sweet Business, that fantastic exotic auto rifle. That I think will be effective, and I think I think you can be effective with them. But again, we just haven't quite learned how to do that yet. Maybe people have. I mean, if you have, great. Tell us how to do it. Please tell us. But I don't see it. I haven't experienced it yet.
I'm still got that
I'm glad to see you safe.
hope.
I-
Some of the
We shall
older
run
exotics
that
will make their way from Destiny 1. I'm still, fingers crossed, looking for Hawkmoon to make an appearance. That would make me very happy. It really would.
It would make you personally very happy, wouldn't it? I mean, let's be right to the viewers here.
That's
You and Hawkmoon are pretty synonymous. You know, you go together.
yeah. I mean, I can still pull off as it stands in Destiny 2, but Hawkmoon provided that slight ease.
It was such a beautiful weapon to fire.
Oh, definitely.
Smooth and silky.
There is so many variations of hand cannons in Destiny 2 that there's many that feel like it, which I think's a great thing. They're not quite the same. They're not exotic, but even the exotic one, they still have their own personality to find within the weapon. each weapon acts completely different. I mean, we've looked at the stat table where gun A is identical to gun C, it's a reskin of gun B, etc. But the fire rate,
We have to.
the stats can all be identical, but the fire rate can literally be 0.05% difference. And that's the difference between life and death and PvP, for definite.
Absolutely.
Um,
And I think in I might even venture in some of the raid encounters,
Yeah,
that's
that-
where things get busy in the past,
well, in the raid itself,
and
you've got a lot of times when things must die within a set time, or the team wipes. So
There's a small gap in the wall. Hard to
being
see,
able
but it's there.
to kill it in that time is very, very important.
Yep, 100%.
And if you've got a weapon that fires 0.05% faster, that's going to allow you to do a little bit more damage, potentially, depending on how many crits you get, etc.
I think that's also worth mentioning. You touched on crits there, and I think that's definitely something that that is something we need to mention is the importance now and the reward more than anything else for crit headshots and accuracy.
Again, that's an improvement they've made in Destiny 2. Destiny 1, getting a headshot with certain guns meant almost a one-shot on an enemy, which is great.
It was fun, yeah.
But it still was quite difficult to do. For certain gun types, certain gun arcs. Destiny 2, they've not made it easier to hit the crits, but they have made it more rewarding. You get the enemy will stumble properly now, rather than just shrug it off.
Yeah.
And they'll take, obviously, increased damage compared to a body shot, which is shown, as you'll see on screen at some points, in the yellow numbers. And again, it's just that tightening up, really, of something they already had in place.
Is it? Yeah, but just polishing it, just making it slightly better. I don't know, because I don't know the maths on this. I haven't done a study. Maybe this is something I really should Google, to be fair. But have they actually made the difference between a body shot and a crit shot bigger? Is that why? I don't know. It feels that way. That's the way it feels to me. I can't say for sure, but it kind of feels like that.
Possibly.
If you are literally,
I'd need to go back
I
to
remember
Destiny 1
blasting away.
and experiment on it. And Destiny 2 is too much fun.
But there do seem to be encounters. That's all I'm saying. There do seem to be encounters where, if you take a Destiny 1 style, particularly with something like a fast-firing auto rifle or something like that, where you could, generally speaking, keep the waves of enemies back without really about getting headshots. Where encounters now, where unless you're getting headshots, you are going to get overrun. And that's the way it feels to me. And I don't know whether that's intentional or that's my personal experience or not. But that's the way it feels to me.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
It's important now to, in certain circumstances, I'm particularly talking about strikes and raids particularly. That's probably where it's most noticeable. But
I also think they've made the AI a lot more aggressive. In a good way.
100%. Yeah.
Rather than them just running a set pattern away from you or round about you. Not so much at the start, because they want you to get into it, to get used to it. One, the enemy does become increasingly more aggressive. The point that even in the same encounter, for example, an encounter in the raid where we had to kill some ants, we then missed the mechanics, so we wiped, so we had to re-encounter these ants. The second time we re-encountered them, they were more aggressive than they were the first time. It took us a little bit by surprise, because we just expect them to naturally fall into the same pattern, but no, they ran to cover. How we behaved in the first time we came up against them.
Yeah,
which is
that was
great.
a shock.
It's almost a self-learning AI, which kind of scary on its own. But yeah, it's
Yeah, exactly.
very interesting and constantly changing game. Because, I mean, in Destiny 1, they did a beautiful thing with the strikes where you'd go in and the same strike, you could do it maybe 3 times, 4 times in a day, and one of those times it was going to switch over and be a different enemy, like from Fallen to Vex to Cabal to Taken, and that was beautiful. It allowed that change in tactics. You had to really think on your feet. But with Destiny 2, they've not only done that in the strikes, they've also done it in the real world itself. At the start of the game, and as you start playing the game, suddenly more Fallen come out of nowhere. They'll start fighting Cabal mid-public event, which isn't a slightly large, similar to Destiny 1's public events, in all honesty, slightly on a bigger scale, but
I think we scared
they'll
them
suddenly, you'll be in the middle of one, fighting
away. Me to the shard.
Fallen in their servitors, and out of nowhere Cabal will come running in, and you've then got to adapt to the Cabal trying to fight you and the Fallen, whilst the Fallen are trying to fight you and the Cabal, and everyone's having a free-for-all. And depending on where you are, what planet you're on, that's the same with Vex and Taken, and Cabal and Vex. They all interact with each other. None of them are generally ally up like they used to in Destiny 1. It used to be a case of you come into the room, you come into the area, whether the Taken are fighting Fallen or the Cabal were fighting Vex, they'd all stop in their tracks, turn around, and every single one of them would start shooting you, which used to be a complete and utter nightmare. Whereas they've now improved it in this one. So yes, they do shoot you, but they still continue to fight amongst each other.
Yeah, that is quite something. I mean, it was always a great. I thought it was a really simple, but effective way of you getting to a stage where you couldn't learn. You couldn't learn off by heart a strike. You couldn't do it because it would change, and there would be something else. There would be a random factor that you could learn. And I thought it was really simple, but of keeping things interesting.
Yeah. The best part of that is, it allows you to have that need to change your playstyle. To suddenly think to yourself, right, sorry, I had to yawn there. Instead of having rather small, fast targets, I've got really big, slow, heavy hitting targets to deal with now. And that requires different weaponry. Chasing a Cabal with an auto rifle isn't always the best option.
No.
Chasing a Cabal with a sidearm can generally be quite suicidal.
They take a lot of putting down.
They can do, yeah. Whereas being able to have a shotgun, you know, that allows you to adapt on the fly. You can switch over, you get into that fight, and then suddenly the taking get involved, and you realise, okay, shotgun's great, but slightly overkill. I'm going to need a fast firing weapon for the sheer numbers. At the same time that's all happening, you're still fighting the Cabal that were there originally. And they've sort of put that emphasis on, yes, you can do this solo, but how much easier would this be with the fire team right now?
Yeah, exactly.
And I've got to admit, that's a big part of this game is team play.
They really have, and they've stuck stubbornly to it, you know. And I think that's fabulous, because they, you know, again, we've said it, I've said it before, but you know, the temptation to not do that, you know, there's a lot of great solo players out there who enjoy playing solo. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. It's easy. You could have had a commercial success with this game, no question. Just leaving it and not concentrating on the social and the cooperative element. But they won't do that. They've been absolutely stubborn and held to that. You know, they've absolutely held to it. I love that. I absolutely love it, because it's not the easy route to take, and that's pretty rare in all circumstances, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But as you know, we're technically professional digressors. It brings us to the point that they have upped the AI greatly in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I do like, with the introduction of the new social space in the game as well, the farm.
Yeah.
It's a great addition. It makes it feel like we're actually at war. I think I've touched on this previously with yourself, Nick, that I do feel we get our light back a bit quick. But
yeah.
The farm itself does give you that feel of we're under occupation. We are refugees on our own planet.
Yeah, I get something. I get the idea that there was a compromise made there. I think for new players coming in, because they got it right. The atmospheric situation of being scared, you know, of being scared on your own planet, they got it right. They did it well, and you did feel you felt angry somewhere that you kind of knew was familiar. And there were people in your guardian's home, and they got that really right. And yeah, there is a part of me that wishes I had a little more of that. That would have been great drama.
Yeah,
but
it's
not
a great
everybody
start.
has the same connection.
And it's the feel of getting your power back a bit early, but it is a great start to the game with that being outmanned, overpowered, and basically
having to hide.
Yeah, I think what they were going for is to let you feel that despair to start with, and then the rest of the game is all about fighting back. And they wanted us to have that power as quick as we could, so we could fight back as early as we could and get right into, well, everything they've built, really. It's a little bit selfish on their part of they really wanted us to get into it and show off what they've done.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can describe it, is they really wanted to show off everything they created.
That's
And,
understandable.
you know,
Don't get
it's
cocky now that you've got your powers back. The EDZ is rough, especially around
in the end, it
Yeah,
is the right move.
I think.
Just remember.
Yeah, I think so. I think, although
Refugees from
I
the
think
city
we were kind
is
of
a lot
prepared for it,
Wanna
because
help them?
what certainly
Fine,
isn't a
never
spoiler are the trailers that were put out, and the trailer, and we got introduced to Gary Gaul
Yeah.
very early on as the you know the main opponent, the big bad guy who's come to cause us all kinds of trouble. And he, you know, what stuck in my mind, and a lot of people's minds, I know, a lot of players, was welcome to a world without light. And I was thinking, whoa, okay, that's a world without light. You know, that to me meant that it was going to be a struggle. If we were going to get our light back at all, we were going to have to fight for it.
Yeah.
And that was the impression I got left with.
I don't mean to interrupt you there, but
No.
you could. I'm going to go up to talk to Devon just now, and then I'll be
Me too.
joinable. And there's a public event just started outside, so once I've spoken to him, feel free to join me, and we'll get some cheeky
I
XP.
will. Yeah. I've just got some. I've just loaded into Trostland now. Hope he's got the kettle on.
I doubt it. He doesn't like to share.
No, he doesn't like to share his tea, but makes a lot of tea. Seems to drink it all himself. Tea Jenny certainly is. I like it.
Right, I've got a glimmer drill that started to move. So this is public event. Oh, and I've got a priority target at the same time, which does not help. Generally kept for majority of endgame is the public events. Most people wait till they're level 20 and have more light than 15 or whatever it is that we've got. But I have to admit, I cannot pass up
Power cannon.
Oh, sorry, power. Yes, there is no light. It's a world without lights.
Apparently,
of-
I don't know.
It's without light, but it's got power.
It's got power but not light. Okay.
I still managed to kill a high priority target.
That's good.
Right, so then looks like it might be going heroic. I'm going to actually pop on the Fire Team Medallion that unfortunately not everyone who starts a new game will have. They come from Endgame, which people know we have Endgame characters already.
Yeah.
I have full confidence in you.
But if you do already, then they do make a difference.
Make a great difference. Oops, this one's not going heroic yet. I'm under attack. It's went heroic now. That's better.
Okay. Bit of a baptism of fire for my. Here comes my hunter, straight to the middle of a heroic event. Sounds busy.
Yeah. All the enemies have nice reg. These are too strong for you. We'll kindly ignore that and just continue to shoot them anyway. My concern is when the big dude starts coming in, because I know he's on his way.
Yeah, we'll have to beat a tactical retreat, I think, at that point.
But yeah, he's on his way now. I was going to shoot him from a distance. Oh, we've got an Arc Strider.
Yeah. But we've said it. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. Credit again to the design here, because we're not just bystanders. We can't
No.
make a lot of difference, and we can get killed pretty easy, but we can take part, and a meaningful part, in essentially what is an endgame activity for a lot of people by the time they get to this stage.
Yeah, I mean,
There you go. Right.
the supers still pack one hell of a punch.
Smash into ground.
Yeah, our bullets get
Well done.
bonused up. There we go. So, just in and the heroic event done, and they're leveled up again. So, coming into the heroic event at level 2, leaving the heroic event at level 4.
That's nice.
It's quite a nice way to go. Hide inside the church where it's a little safer.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say a welcome to Nelstar for the viewing. One of our clanmates deciding to keep an eye on us, just making sure we're not defecting in any way.
Yep, holding up the good name, Blood Corvus.
I do like how with the heroic events you can get some pretty good gear to help boost your power, but not just that, it helps a lot with the damage dealing for the start of the story.
Yeah, it's really useful. It's a great way of going about it. And it gets people, it gets people into the game feeling that they're really taking part in something new.
Give it a look, will you?
Yeah, and that's, again, with Destiny 2, it is very new to a lot of people in the respect that there's some familiar areas from Destiny 1, only very some. The rest of it is areas we didn't explore, areas that we were kept out of.
Bit of a story to them.
And
We both need some
that's
supplies to
great
get going
because
out here.
it'll feel they've done the right thing. And to start with, they've kept us a little closer to home, build up our confidence, and then send us out in the world or in the galaxy. as it
Exactly.
were.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah. No,
Right,
it's
we'll have to look for every opportunity.
I love the fact
Keep your eyes
that
peeled
it's
for more supplies
I know we've said it before and I'll say it again, but straight away,
Symbol on the wall of the church. Take a look.
we're here, we're in a new area, but straight away we're taking part in a cooperative activity, and we're getting pretty well rewarded for it. It's
Yeah,
straight off the bat. People are
And-
saying, you take part, join with other Guardians, do this stuff, and we will make sure that it's worth it. You're not going to get overpowered in seconds, but
Where did this symbol
it will
come
be
from?
worth your while.
I believe
and the thing
they're
is,
about the region as they scouted
they've
around.
not made it
I
so
think they meant it to mark something
you
special.
have to, like for example,
Or both.
going back to Destiny
Let's
1,
go check it out.
the
The
Archon's
history of this
Forge.
region is fascinating.
Brilliant public event
I believe
area.
tunnels and caves
Absolute
like the
nightmare
one
because you
you're
can only
in
take
now
3 people in with you.
stretch all across the EDZ.
Yes, that was a big issue.
Whereas here, even if you've got a fire team of 3, you can still bump into up to another 4 or 5 Guardians. Now some of those public events we've ran around and there's been 9 of us. And it's just been great
Yeah,
because
you find that lovely impromptu team that sort of comes together and this guy's good, and
Yeah.
this guy's gonna. He pops his super early. Great, thanks for that. I'll keep hold of mine then. For this stage of the fight.
and you tend to
Oh
find
look,
as well.
that guy's rocking cold heart. Oh great, he's knocked the barrier down quickly, and that's great. All of a sudden you get a
Tend to-
dynamic going within seconds.
Yeah, and you tend to find that a lot of those people that you find out and about in the public events, you'll come across at some point. I mean, you may not realise it to start with until they again pop their super air. Effectively do something similar as to what they did when you first met them. unless you write everyone's names down that you meet, you'll find that you'll meet them somewhere else along the line,
key code from that captain. I think I can open his supply
which is
cache.
really good.
But it's really clear from the get-go that this is what they want. They want you to have a positive experience, and
Keep an eye out for other hidey
with
holes.
cooperative play,
Treasure like
and
this one.
guess what? That's what you get.
That's for another day.
Great.
What say we get down to business? Come on back up to the church tower. I'm putting a kettle on now.
You see, he's putting the kettle on again for us.
Yeah, he's invisible kettle.
He's putting the kettle on, but will we ever get a cup of tea? I don't think so.
So either.
Yeah, also perhaps worth mentioning at this point in time, they've integrated the tutorial pretty well. I haven't, and the reason I say that is that I don't hear people complaining or talking about it. It's pretty seamless.
It is.
So we got a little prompt there to open. I don't know if you got it at the same time I did, but Director, which is the new way of finding your way around. It's fine. It's not in your face. It's not a you must do this before you can progress.
This time I did make tea for you.
There's enough of it there to keep you on the right track.
Quicker.
Exactly. It
Right, the beacon. While you were
more or less the tutorial is actually within your first hour's gameplay, really. Play through that tutorial as you're playing the game, and it teaches you as you're trying to get past the first areas, and that's an amazing thing to bring in, rather than having to. I mean, most games will have, especially first person shooters, will always have like a tutorial section, so you'll go in to that tutorial and be taught how to play the game, whereas here you're already playing as you're learning. So rather than, it just means for returning players, it's much more seamless.
Yeah.
For new players, it builds a lot more confidence quicker with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does, and it's not. But as you say, it's not. It's never. I've never felt it to be intrusive to the gameplay, and that's what. And what I mean by intrusive is, it's back to our old friend immersion. You know, we want immersion in our games. That's what makes the games fun. We want to feel, and of course, and there's nothing that's going to kill immersion faster than. Right, you have to be in an unrealistic situation where you need to be taught the game, even though that's necessary at times.
Where's that signal booster?
But they've done really well with
Guardian
that.
friend is en route. I'm getting too old to clean up after you, Soraya.
Sorry, I'm just admiring the scenery as we go through it. There's just so much detail put
Bailed
in.
me out on one assault charge and you
Yeah,
never let me
it's
live
quite
it
Even
down.
even to the start.
My hair is grey.
But it always was beautiful.
Yeah,
They
keep talking,
they
old
do
man.
they do cyberpunk as well as anybody I know. They do. Some great artists they've got there.
I agree, some of the concepts are really nice. We've seen quite a few of them recently. Again, I like the addition to more environmental dangers than in Destiny 1. You know,
Yeah,
explosive
agreed.
barrels, Vex blocks, things like that. So not only can we use them, but the enemy, albeit potentially accidental, will sometimes use them.
Correct. Yeah. You got to wonder how accidental is that sometimes.
And it's an AI that seems to be learning, so most at times. We missed one. Yeah, we have.
Yeah. My bad. Oh, he's hiding. You see? Perfect example of great AI. We gotta. He's a bit scared up there. but that's fine. There's good reason to be scared. We're going to kill him.
That's the thing though, when the enemy's down 2-on-1, they will generally retreat.
We'll have to find
And
another
then,
way up.
for example, in some situations where they'll receive backup or reinforcements, they'll suddenly come back out of hiding and charge with them. They won't stay hiding. They'll suddenly grow up here.
The fallen are scavengers
Yeah,
of the
and start
highest
running
order.
at you again.
They're
Yeah.
going to put up a fight for whatever they
brilliant.
can get their grubby claws on.
But again, it's part of the, it's part of the realism, it's part of the immersion, storytelling. That's what keeps people coming back to Destiny. Is it's not just a shooter.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's other popular franchises out there that are more based in realism. But I think a good thing with this one, a good thing with the Destiny franchise, as it was with Halo, there is a sense of realism, that futuristic effect to it. For example, in this one it's space and humanity gaining great power from a sentient being. It allows you to sort of lose yourself in the story and not feel killing your enemy, for example, because a lot of negativity to Destiny 1 was when it first launched. It felt like a clone of some of the other games that were out at the time because it was too realistic. Whereas it eventually managed to pull itself into, shall we say, space magic, where it needs to be, and where it sits quite rightly at home. In Destiny 2, they've wasted no time and gone straight into that. At the very start of the game with the Cabal invasion, it's got a very strong, at times, it's probably to do with the names as well, very strong Roman theme to it.
Very much so. Yeah.
Overpowering.
The Empire.
Yes.
It's an empire ruled by dominuses and consuls.
They just at the start and they dominate. They overpower their enemy with sheer numbers.
Yep.
And that's, quite a daunting experience to tell in story form. They've done it well enough to make you feel for the characters, but at the same time not to the point where you feel scared for them.
Yeah, I agree.
You're still enjoying the story. You're not terrified of the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. The other thing that is definitely worth, and we are we are risking going into the lore again, but as we will, but Ghoul particularly, great work done on a character. I mean, absolutely great work done. I'm not big. There is it's a baddie that you can almost empathise with, which are always the best baddies. You kind of get where he's coming from. He's not a lunatic. He's not a madman. He might be evil. He might want to kill you. He might want to. But you know where he's coming from, and you can understand it, and that makes him more scary. That definitely makes him more scary because he's a believable baddie, and you can kind of understand why he thinks that.
Yeah, I mean it's his culture and beliefs. Risking culture and beliefs, he's in the right, and that's it's quite reflective of modern society, which it really is.
Yeah, he's not he's not out here to because he's evil. He doesn't think he's evil. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He's doing what Cabal do, you know. If you were, he'd happily accept defeat if he was defeated by a more powerful, more aggressive, more technologically advanced civilization. He'd take it on the chin and learn from it. You get the impression, but but if he wins, he deserves to win, and he deserves his, he deserves his prize.
Yeah. And sneaky level 5. I don't worry, Nick. I'll let you kill all the enemies. I'll just upgrade my gear.
That's badness. There we go.
Don't worry, I wasn't behind you, so it's not on camera. Now, I mean, even here, we're trying to get past the Fallen here, and the only reason they're fighting us is because we're in their territory. It's not a case of they agree with the Cabal and they want side with the Cabal or anything like that. It's far from it. It's literally because here in there we're trying to pass through what is now their territory. So they're defending themselves.
Yeah. This is a universe of limited resources, and this is a resource that they want. And they're not going to give it up easy.
To be fair, we're not even here to take it. We're simply doing delivery runs.
We're passing through.
Through their area.
But but they don't know that. So
that's what I like, because a lot of the encounters in the game are like that. This could be avoided if there was communication. I think is the overall point that's getting made within the game is if these forces communicated, there's a potential truce here.
Yeah, that's again we're straying inevitably back into lore again, but there's your Roman connection again. You look at the Scions. We know that the Scions are enemies that we encounter when we encounter the Cabal. But we also know that they're slaves. They're not perhaps willing participants here, you know? They're they've been recruited because they can do things that the big, strong Cabal can't, because they're fast and they're quick, and Cabal aren't fast and quick. They're tough.
We're out of the mine and heading your
They're
way.
They've been recruited to do a job.
Giant space moles.
Yeah, giant space moles.
Or hamsters,
space
or
rhinos.
whatever else they've been called.
Yeah, I think they're more moles than they are rhinos. Definitely.
Definitely. You look at the eyes, look at the claws. They're very strange. All the same, they're very...
Yeah. I don't think moles are that aggressive, though. But anyway. But no, that's a fascinating story, you know. And I think, again, Bungie has a history of slaves revolting in other games, other stories. Who knows where that might end up?
Looks like Lewis owes me money. All right. Now, if I read the manual right...
What's could call them space honey badgers, but I don't think they're quite that aggressive.
Guardians, the city is lost. If there is any life left
Yeah, I
in the
like that.
system, we rally on Titan. Be brave. Guardians.
Zavala's alive. If we leave now, we can...
You are not going to Titan. We've got refugees coming in. The Red Legion on one side, the Fallen on the other.
But we have our powers back. And if we're going to retake the city...
Your city is...
We will be back, and we won't be alone.
You'll know where to find me.
Yeah, there's a dialogue hole there. For me, I'm sorry, but there is. There is.
Yeah, that's the key point where your character should really have been able to speak up and say his first words. You know.
Yeah,
You just look
it's
at her and,
charged
you
with
know,
atmosphere.
Just mama. Yeah.
She's
It's
yeah,
just-
exactly.
Even that's just missing.
Yeah.
Something there, please.
She's worried.
It would save us both a lot of time if you would just kill me.
For one who calls himself Speaker, you have remarkably little to say. We've learned that one of your guardians has reconnected to the light. You have no power over the Traveler yet. This. Help me understand, Speaker.
The light lives in
I mean, I've
all
touched on this
places,
before, but
in alls,
this scene between the Speaker and Gaul
even try to trap
has
it.
very strong vibes for me
We'll find
of
it.
Morpheus and
And the Traveler
Agent Smith in the
will
Matrix. It's that sort of
himself.
hatred and
For years
on top of dominance. It's
The world it has touched.
very well done.
Its
Yeah.
power over life and death. We are not so different, your Traveler and I.
Thing like the Traveler. Nothing. You think you have power, control. Oh, your kind. You started small. You will end small.
If the Traveler truly has chosen humanity of its own free will, then there is no reason I should not reach inside, tear at the light for myself, and leave this system in ash.
Only those the Traveler chooses will be reborn in the light.
Yes. This I know. This is why I have claimed your planet, and why you still live.
I think we'll do as we originally planned. We'll
The Traveler will choose me, Speaker.
land on Titan and
You are going to tell me how.
call that for our stream today.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
tomorrow-
that's absolutely fair.
Tomorrow is when we're back. We plan to do Titan itself because it's nice and short generally. Mainly talk about
Brilliant.
story
scenery
so
as well.
far. Yeah, it is amazing scenery. Talk about the story so far, what implications it has for the future of Destiny.
Yeah.
Because even just up to where we are now, it makes a massive change in the world of Destiny, which is great. I mean, I like how literally they took everything that happened in Destiny 1 and dropped it on its head straight away. The opening sequences to Destiny 2 literally just take all of your work and throw it away. Everything you accomplished, well, guess what? We're thrown out the window.
Yeah, it's a clean slate.
Which works in if you just spawn into a public event. Tell you what, Nick, we will do this.
We'll do a public event.
We'll
We
do
will
a
always
public
do a
event.
public event.
Yes,
We-
I'll never
we-
turn
we-
down a public event.
We don't pass them out. But no, if we're going to do this public event, it's just going to give me time also to say about that last exchange with Gaul. And again, and I'm not, I'm taking this Roman thing even further, because you have Gaul almost taking the role of a Pontius Pilate type of character, someone who's completely in control of life and death, and the beautiful response from the speaker is the light those who will be reborn in the light can only be chosen by the Traveller. You know? And that's, again, it's a brave, it's an on-the-nose, almost biblical reference, you know?
But quite cleverly done.
And yet, yeah, and yet his words, Ghoul's words, he's trying to understand, help me understand. Those are his words. These are not the words of a tyrant. These are the words of a maybe overconfident. But, you know, he's trying to understand. He doesn't want to, you know, he knows that the greater understanding is at play here. Bigger things are at play here.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It's they do that throughout Destiny 2 more than they did in Destiny 1 because there is a lot more dialogue and a lot more storytelling going on. And part of that storytelling, Gaul trying to understand the Traveller, and ourselves trying to understand the Traveller also.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, and he's not childishly just trying to destroy it. He's not trying to literally just childishly and mindlessly destroy it. He wants desperately to understand it as well. And that's something a lot deeper. And I think that's a credit. You know, don't underestimate the intelligence of your audience. You know, they will get that. You know, and I love that.
Another impeccable smash and grab.
Well good to end on level 6 as well, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will, however, sort my gear out inside the church, where is a relative safe zone. Oh, there's a box in here as well, Nick.
Oh, cool.
Side. We'll come around and grab that. Always good to grab.
Hang on 2 seconds. Okay.
I'm just making sure I do all my upgrades, all my equips. So when I start again, when I come into this tomorrow, I don't forget is the main thing.
I want to keep playing this hunter. This is. I mean, I can't because obviously we're going to do the stream, and you know we don't want to leave people.
No, it's good. It's good that you've got that.
How the hell he ended up with. But
it's good that you've got the feel for it though, because it helps the progression. But no,
it's a joyful thing.
Tomorrow we'll be going over, like I said, story so far, to helping sort of decipher some of. Essentially what is happening, because it's just for anyone that's new to it, it's like, why has this just happened? Who are these guys? And yeah, we'll go into a bit more of what we did to annoy the Cabal quite as much as we have.
Yep, absolutely.
We'll touch on that, and yeah, we might delve a little bit into some of the lore. Not too much, because you know that will end up as a 4-hour stream, and then go forget to eat and breathe.
Yeah.
And generally live.
Yeah, it will happen. It will happen. It will happen. But no, you're right. I don't think, you know. Again, I think people who end up following us through this, I think you know, we will digress into it. We can't help it because it's such an important part of the game for us personally. But
that's us for today. Again, thank you for joining me, Nick. It was fun.
No problems.
As
Pleasure.
always.